Hello guys and welcome back to the channel. In this video I'm going to be going through the Apple CarPlay screen and do a bit of review. We fitted it in the last couple of weeks. I've used the car a few times now, been on a few runs, so I think I've got all the sort of little quirks figured out. Came out today just to try and get, if there was anything else, so just thought I'll do another run. So you join me here today. We are just outside Bamburgh Castle, so it's taking about another half an hour or so to get here. So I've just been going through other bits and pieces on the screen so I can tell you what I think of it and what the little quirks are with it. So we'll hit the road now and we'll get the camera set up so you can see the screen as we're travelling. Right, so the first little annoyance just before we set off is it's went straight on the Apple CarPlay, that's fine, but you have to turn the FM transmitter on. We better turn that down before we get copyrighted. But that is the first little annoyance. Every time you start the car, you've got to switch the FM transmitter on, which is a bit of a pain. But anyhow, let we go. Right, let me go, 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 let me go. Right guys, well I suppose the second thing I'm going to point out, which hopefully this camera can see what's going on, the mount is rubbish, is the only way to describe it really. It did feel quite flimsy when we put it in, obviously, but I thought it might have been alright, but as you hopefully can see, and I mean this road surface, to be honest, is quite smooth as road surfaces go. Now I understand that this car is quite stiff, the suspension, but I think we're going to have to do something with it. I think short term this would probably be alright, but I think longer term it needs something a bit better done with it. Now just drive, because like I say, this road surface isn't actually that bad, but it's fairly bad. I mean, we're 30 miles an hour here in a built up area, and yeah, it's a fairly good example of how shaky the screen is. But yeah, I was half expecting that, to be honest. And the mount is like adjustable in and out. I've got it out on its little arm a little bit, so it'll be making it worse, obviously. But yeah, it's a bit too wobbly, we'll say. So the mount, not the best, to be honest. So I've been driving the car a few times with the screen, and obviously it is wireless Apple CarPlay. Now I've had, I think, one issue where it kind of had a little bit of it dropped out for a second or two, but that is it so far anyway. So in the couple of runs out I've done, it's getting it. To be fair, it was right at the beginning when we just set off one time, just put a podcast on, and it just kind of had a bit of a stutter, and then it was fine. So on the connectivity front, I would say I cannot really say anything bad about it. When you turn the car on, it connects up straight away. Well, the normal sort of amount of time you would expect a wireless Apple CarPlay to take to connect to. It's about 5 to 10 seconds, and then once you've obviously paired your phone with it, as soon as you power on and your phone's in range, it just goes straight into the Apple CarPlay. Now on the actual quality of the screen itself, so the display, it's a 1080p display. Now for the size of screen it is, it's absolutely fine for Apple CarPlay. So if I see it, album artwork when you're playing music or podcast kind of little logos, things like that, and I've got it on Apple Maps at the minute, and absolutely fine, no issues at all with the quality of the screen. The only thing it has had is, again, it's a touch screen, so I'll mention that it's been fine, but again, there's been one occasion where it kind of became unresponsive, but again, it was for about was only about 5 to 10 seconds. So I put a podcast on, I tried to go back, and it kind of stopped playing the podcast, but then it wouldn't stuck on the same screen for, say it was 5-10 seconds, and then it went back to the main screen and it started working fine. And that has been the only instance where there's kind of been a problem with the responsiveness of the screen. Now we'll just come on to sound quality. So the sound quality, because it's playing through the FM transmitter, is actually okay. Now I did think there might be a bit of sort of interference, but if you keep it on 108, so the screen transmitting on FM 108, and obviously tune your car radio into that, it's been absolutely fine, to be honest. The only time I heard a little bit of crackling was when I was on a phone call. I'll come on to phone calls in a minute. But as for the sound quality of music and podcasts coming through the speakers, it's actually quite impressed us, to be honest. Now I know I've mentioned in previous videos that I've put the original CD player back in this car, and the standard equipment, speakers and things, aren't exactly brilliant, to be honest. So the quality of the sound system's not that good to start with. So playing something through an FM transmitter, it's fine, to be honest. So I think at the minute I don't feel the need to go any further with trying to hardwire anything in. I'm happy just to use it on the FM transmitter. So yeah, so it's a thumbs up for the FM transmitter on this screen as well. So on making phone calls, now it has got a built-in microphone, and when you try it when the car is parked up, it wasn't too bad. But obviously when you're driving, there's road noise, that sort of thing. Now you can make a phone call, but for whatever reason, you've got to have the volume really loud on the car's CD player to be able to hear the person you're talking to, and you've really got to shout at the screen for them to be able to hear you. Now I don't understand the volume thing, but basically ended the call, the music came back on and it was in full blast. So for making phone calls, not fantastic. And the other thing kind of what the microphone uses is, you try and use Siri for anything, you've really got to shout as well. So I used it for navigation, just to make sure the navigation was working. So it set off, hit the kind of maps, and then asked Siri to navigate somewhere, and it took us three attempts of gradually getting louder each time before Siri could hear what I was saying. So yeah, so the inbuilt microphone isn't great, but if you are stuck and needed to make a phone call, then you can. But like I say, it isn't great. But for the price point of this screen, you can't really expect too much. So just another example of the screen wobble. We are on the A1 doing 55, getting 60. But yeah, this is the A1, and obviously you can see how much the screen is wobbling still on so-called main road. Should be one of the best sort of surface qualities, and it is still wobbling quite a bit. Well guys, we're back in the garage now, so I just wanted to go through kind of how quickly it switches on, show you obviously that, just run through the different menus on the screen, that sort of thing. So I'll spin you around so you can see the screen, and then we'll switch the car on. Right, so this is me turning the key on. And that is obviously the crackle that you get when it doesn't just automatically turn the FM transmitter on. And that is it into the wireless Apple CarPlay. Now I have had to connect my daughter's phone to this because obviously I'm recording on my phone and it kept making the audio go funny. So obviously you should be able to hear the crackling. Hopefully your maybes can't, but the speakers are definitely crackling because there is no FM transmitting. So go back to the home screen, and this little icon at the top looks like a radio mast with circles around it. If we hit that, that has switched the FM transmitter on. Now I'll go through the pages here. So main page, obviously we've got, you know, time and date, that sort of thing. If there's anything playing at the minute, it would be in that box there. So FM transmitter is basically, you know, what station you're outputting on. I did try it on 87 to start with, and even sitting parked up, the, you know, it was really crackly. But then just went to the opposite end of the scale, tried 108, and it's been absolutely fine on 108. So that's all there is on there. You can pre-select that, and that stays. Whatever you've selected on, that stays. So to get back to the home screen, you just press that one, and you'll go back to there. And then obviously your Apple CarPlay one is, you know, takes you straight into Apple CarPlay. Android Auto would be the same if you were connected via Android Auto. Background, obviously, if you press that, it's just a kind of, you know, there's a few different backgrounds you can have. Bluetooth would obviously be if you didn't have, you know, this is connected to the wireless CarPlay, but if you just had a phone that just had Bluetooth but didn't have Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, you would be able to connect it to the Bluetooth. And the SD card as well. If you had an SD card in, you could go into there and play music from it, that sort of thing as well. So we'll go to the Apple CarPlay screen, and you'll notice this little white. Is it on that? No, it's not on every screen, but if you go into here, there's this little white dot which it stays on no matter what screen you're on within the Apple CarPlay. Now if you press that, it's just your kind of brightness and tells you your volume level. Now you also have this volume control on the bottom of the screen there. Always just leave it on maximum, which seems to work best, to be honest. So yeah, so this is my daughter's phone, so it's never been connected to Apple CarPlay before, but obviously you've got yeah, it's just going to obviously cause you the normal things, but podcast is probably going to say the same. But yeah, so normally you would have, you know, your things kind of set up and they would just be working, but you can see, you get an idea how kind of responsive, you know, the screen is for changing, you know, going in and out of things, which is, to me, is more than all right, to be honest. And again, for the price point, on the screen itself, I will put the name or the brand of it on screen now. I can't pronounce it, or I'll probably make a pig's ear of trying to pronounce it. So I'll put the name on the screen now. When I checked last night, it is currently selling for $39.99, but you can, for the same price, get it with a reverse camera as well. Now, I paid £33 for this one because it was on offer at the time. Now, even for $39.99, I think is pretty decent value for what it is. The one that comes with the reverse camera might be a kind of viable option as well. Obviously, I'm not fussed about reverse camera on this vehicle, but if you had a van or something like that, then it might be a really handy feature having a reverse camera as well. Now, I'll just show you the connections, obviously, on the side here. So at the bottom there, we've got the 12-volt input, and then you've got the memory card slot, and then the USB input, and then there's an AV in, which I would imagine for if you had a reverse camera, and then the top one is an audio out. Now that is all there is connection-wise on the screen. Now I would say at this point, I don't know why they couldn't have put them sticking out the back, and then obviously when you're looking at it from this angle, you wouldn't have them sticking out the side like this. They would be kind of hidden round the back. So I'm not sure why they do that, but anyhow. So just a quick summary, I suppose, on what we think of it. So the mount itself, you know, isn't ideal, isn't great, and the fact that whenever you switch it off and then back on again, the wireless transmitter, you need to kind of switch that on. So that's, you know, just a little niggle, I suppose. But for the money,
I think it's definitely worth the price. I mean, it does what it needs to do. And I think it's a good solution for an older vehicle like this, where you haven't got Apple CarPlay. It kind of gives you all the features and functions that you need. Now, you can let me know your thoughts if you think this is a good idea to put something like this in a car. You can pop a comment down below, or if you have any questions about it, anything that hasn't been covered in the video, drop a question in the comments and I will answer it. If you haven't seen the install video, I shall stick a link to it on the side of the screen now, so you can go back and have a look at the install. If you've liked this video, please give it a like, and would love you to subscribe to the channel. And we will see you in the next one.